It is the 24th of June 1942 and the war for the Japanese is progressing at what seems to be an extremely slow rate. With invasions into the Dutch East Indies being incredibly piecemeal, the Emperor himself has issued a new task force consisting of Yamashiro, the second Fuso class battleship, along with a Congo fast battleship, escorted by the final Mogami class cruiser and two Alba class heavy cruisers. The Emperor has commissioned this particular task force with one goal in mind: bombard the heavier Dutch East Indies bases. This includes both Manila and Singapore at top priority for the hit list. With both high-level airfields out of action, Japanese advances down to the south of the Pacific will be much easier. While the Emperor worries about expanding his dominion across the Pacific, the Japanese Navy admirals are still worried about the complete absence of any American carriers. They know they're out there, they know they are numerous, but they do not know where they are exactly. Yamato is still unsuccessful in her hunt to find these in the Solomon Islands. This worry has forced the Japanese to look inward and double their patrols around their home bases. A few hours later, at the 24th of June 1942, the Japanese have encountered a retreating enemy task force consisting of a Northampton, a Cleveland light cruiser and some destroyers. This was a task force previously sighted and attacked, which did contain some enemy cargo transports. While the invasion potential has been removed from this particular task force, there does still remain the possibility of bombarding our own bases. The goal of this skirmish is to either sink the Northampton or put the two enemy cruisers into such a state that they have to move straight to their dockyard to repair. In finding a favourable position, our Tonne-class cruiser and some destroyers fire off some long lance torpedoes at the heavily damaged cruisers. And it seems after taking a battering that the enemy will retreat from this battle. They are disengaging, and I think we will let them retreat just this once for today. At 1400 hours on the 27th of June, the Japanese have invaded Brunei. Zeros performing combat air patrol over the supply ships work furiously to protect the transport ships on their retreat. And further on the 28th of June at 10:52 hours, our Musashi task force has intercepted an invasion task force. However, this invasion task force has been successful in bombarding and invading Okinawa once again, even with our supply interceptor group sat right on top of there. It's just been unsuccessful. We didn't engage with that particular group because on further inspection they were out of ammunition, or not exactly out of ammunition, but very low for that engagement. after taking on the Northampton group previously. So we've come in with Musashi Task Force, of course backed up with Ryujo. We have launched out some Zeros and some Kates because this group does have a escort carrier about. We have yet to sight that, so there we go. We can see actually we're not too far away from them at all. Let's get a true bearing and a reading on that range. That's 16 kilometers away over there. So what exactly do we have in this task force here? We have a county, we have a, I believe that's a Dane, and we have, of course, the Bogue over here, as well as the usual smattering of destroyers. A couple new type destroyers by the looks of things. And that's going to mostly prove nasty for, of course, our aircraft that are out. So there is going to be a lot of flak and small arms fire to watch out for. And of course we do have the usual suspects of cargo transports over here. So that does take away from the surface power of this group. And we're going to redirect Musashi's guns over to the county over here and identify that as such. We're going to send out some spotting fire to begin with over there, send out our secondaries as well. Let's just make sure we do in fact identify that ship properly. So we have, of course, let's get our Jake about as well while we think about it. Just bring it a little bit away from the AA fire over here, because we want to keep this about and perhaps draw away these small arms and the destroyer guns, of course. We do have some Zeros about to watch out for any enemy fighters as well. We do have some torpedo armed Kates for dealing with any heavier ships. I think we'll certainly be bringing those in. Let's fire out if we can onto the leading destroyer over here. No need to worry about spotting fire just yet, and we're going to identify that, I think, there's a Nicholas, I believe, Farragut, I believe is the word I'm looking for there. Let's go over here, DD. That's not quite a Farragut, so that suggests it's a Gleaves or Benson once again. We're going to go for Gleaves for this one at the moment. We're going to target that with our Isuzu as well. Just get some focus fire on these ships over here. We're going to start firing with our Kumano, which has taken some previous damage after fighting, I think, some Clevelands perhaps. So we're going to have to watch out for that as well. We're going to fire out over here some spotting fire once again. We'll get some secondaries. We're going to identify this, I think, as a Dane. Let's have a look. Certainly looks like that. Yeah, the funnel placements give that one away, I think. So not too much to worry about with this particular light cruiser. Does only have 6 guns, low caliber light cruiser guns, of course. Does have some torpedoes to watch out for as well, though, doesn't it? And we're going to start firing on the number 5 as well, which I cannot remember the exact identification off the top of my head with this particular destroyer. I think we're going to go for, to begin with, a Sims, and it certainly is. There we go, lovely stuff. And Hatsutsuki is going to fire on that as well. Going to take off, just double check we're taking off. Yeah, we need to take off also fire flak with everyone. We do have our Kirishima here as well, which is going to fire out onto the county to begin with over here. Let's fire out like so. There we go, and the Iron Army can start firing if possible onto the Sims as well. Just get some fire outs in that direction, and we're going to select everyone, take off, also fire flak, and watch to see how this goes. Do we get some sort of manoeuvres out? I think we certainly should. Going to cross the T a tad, I think, possible. Which way is the enemy manoeuvring to? It's a tad difficult to tell at the moment. Fairly sharp turn in around here, and then try and kite away perhaps. So you should certainly have fired out onto the county. It's not going to take too long for the shells to travel over there, and hopefully get some decent shots out to begin with. We are going to take our Kates into one large group for the minute and just bring them away if possible, so they're not in range of enemy AA, and in case enemy fighters turn up, we're going to watch out for them as well. Just do the same with the Zeros, but we're going to move in a tad and scout out, perhaps even strafe down some destroyers if possible to get that small arms off of our backs. Introduce their incoming firepower as well. Be very, very nice indeed. Perhaps even distracting their AA guns for us there. I'm guessing very, very close by the looks of things with our automated shots. How is our solution looking? 99, so we need to take off spotting just to make sure we are doing that, because we did initiate with spotting, didn't we? That's very nice indeed. Yeah, 99. Enemy is moving at 8 knots over here, and that's because they're looking at some navigational maneuvers there. So hopefully we can get some decent hits over here fairly easily. We can see the enemy destroyers are looking at our Jake over here by the looks of things. They're turning around their guns very quickly now though. Not entirely sure what they're firing at. What we should do is look over at our own ships, see if anything's coming. It certainly is. Musashi's taking some minor hits on the bow over here. Nothing to worry about too much just yet then. Would like to keep some range so that enemy destroyers aren't too much of a bother. Looks like we have an enemy ship smoking over there. Got some hits onto the county. Very nasty hits by the looks of things actually. Look at that saturation on that broadside already, and it is looking like a retreat there. Already from the county, which is excellent. We have got a fire on a secondary gun on the Musashi, and the Iron Ami over here is taking some hits as well. That's not great at all, to be honest. I don't want to lose a ruddy bloody destroyer again. So I think what we need to do is have a very quick look at what we're doing over here. So I think we're going to use, of course, our heavier ships largely in this battle. So I think we're going to break with Musashi. That's actually going to charge the enemy down a tad. Keep a little bit of range here. Move out like so. Isuzu can break as well with the Kirishima. So if we take Kirishima over here, move up into this bit, form up in a line ahead, go to slightly faster speed because Kirishima can keep up with that, and move out over here to pinch the enemy in and keep some sort of distance, whereas the Yugamo can move out roughly to the flank, and then we can bring on a line ahead with the Iron Ami and Hatsutsuki over here. Yet that's above, and they can form up to a line ahead, and then they can move out. So I think we do need to smoke out with these ships here. That'd be quite useful for them. Having said that then, we need to watch out with Kumano and Musashi. These can broadside attack, get all of their guns firing, keep some distance over here. That's a decent bearing towards the enemy there, and that should let the Kumano and such get some torpedoes out as well. We can get some torpedoes out with the Isuzu as well when that's in place. We do have some available. We certainly do. 2 or 4 either side, and total is not too bad at all. And that's not looking too bad in itself. I think what we're going to do is just make sure the Musashi and Takao are working in tandem there. Line ahead like so. Let's put the Kumano over here. We'll break off here and just make sure that is doing as ordered there, I think. What else is in with the Musashi over here? Ryujo and Ikazuchi over here. I think we're going to turn these out onto a normal line ahead with themselves and get these straight out as well. We don't want to risk any hits to our Ryujo if possible. And Yugamo can break out and do its own thing here. Just double check that has fully broken off of formation there, and things should be going as we have commanded for a change. Imagine that. We're going to bring our Kates in as well, because just to get them into range now, start thinking about a possible attack. Since our zeros are coming in, actually I think we're going to lower their altitude and perhaps start thinking about strafing some destroyers already. We'll go for this new type over here onto the flank. We get all of our zeros on there, and then that can bounce over towards another ship if need be there. Looks like the county is still taking a small beating, as well as the Dane a tad maybe? Not sure if that's just puffs of smoke from its fire there. Outgoing firepower. Yeah, here come the zeros. We're going to have to watch out for their speed as well. That's not to worry. I think we just lower their altitude down to roughly 150, gets to 140 there, lower their speed so that they can get a decent turn and more firepower, of course, on to this number 7 destroyer. We tell them to attack from here, of course. I think it would be very nice indeed. You can see some nasty hits coming into the bow of this county as well. Looks like they've knocked out a gun, but it's difficult to tell because it doesn't have a bearing from where that is anyway onto our ships. We do have a possible collision coming in here. Very, very nasty indeed. Just need to micro these zeros a tad so that we're okay here. Probably coming in a little too slow, losing a zero already. We're going to start losing a couple more, of course, but this does distract enemy fire if it is in range of our ships, of course. So that's very, very useful in itself. Get some massive firepower onto this destroyer over here. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful work. We have, of course, lost another zero, and I think we'll pause very quickly here, stop the action, form up once again onto the number 1, and we're going to reduce our speed a tad, get them some medium speed there, and I think we're going to bounce straight over to this Sims over here. So we'll target that, let the zeros come out round onto that, get into a decent formation there. And of course, very, very dangerous, flying right above the enemy. They lost another couple zeros. We're going to tell them to attack straight away here while we are in a decent position. And that's number 7 sinking already. That's excellent. Less firepower coming out from the enemy there. Very, very nice indeed, if you ask me. Going to down this Sims, hopefully, as well. Getting some very, very nice firepower onto there. Lots of explosions across the board, but we have lost another few zeros there. Very, very nasty indeed for both sides. But, you know, zeros will come 10 a penny. As will, of course, a lot of American destroyers thinking about it now. I think we keep our zeros out a tad now. Just circle round, give them a bit of distance, increase that altitude to roughly 500-ish meters, and we'll start keeping an eye on our Kates there. They could perhaps hit the Bogue over here, I believe it is. Very, very nasty. Just missing with some battleship caliber shells there, but that would cause some minor splash damage, of course, and we're looking at perhaps the Sims sinking very soon. We've not knocked its front guns out, so that will be some flak going out there. But it looks like we need to double check our own ships over here. We have some fires on the Musashi, some rather nasty fires actually, and they are indeed spreading. So we're going to have to take this off of the bridge, I think, and get that onto the director over here, which is damaged. It's not looking great, is it? So we're going to have to send the Musashi back to repair nonetheless after this battle. How's our solution going? In the 70s, so not the greatest. I think what we'll do is we hold out here. Go on to the massive smoke cover now. Get some hits onto the Dane by the looks of things, finally. Let's take an action report for both sides. Heavy damage to Commander, that is pre-existing damage. We will double check that on the Krishma as well. But we do have critical damage on that Sims, minor on the Gleaves in fact, and heavy on Dane as well. Where is the county? Heavy there, of course, but only minor flooding. So we're doing a tad more damage overall to the Dane apparently. It's just less visual there. And we certainly can't argue with that. What's going on over here? It's just an absolute mess over here. We do have a very nasty, very, very nasty missile collision going on here. Ooh, lovely stuff, lovely, lovely stuff. Oh, getting some secondary hits onto the Bogue now. Absolutely lovely there. Cannot complain whatsoever. How is our Musashi looking? Have we reloaded? We certainly have. Let's try and get a manual shot then out onto this county. It is going fairly quickly though. Quite the lick over there at 25 knots. So I think it's also turning in quite sharply, isn't it? It's going to be quite a difficult shot. I think it's going to be roughly here. Fire that out, and we'll go back to also fire there rather. How's the cow doing? Not too bad. How is our formation? Pretty much how we asked for, so that's not bad at all actually. Do we need to get some torpedoes out? Probably not. It's going to take quite a while for them to travel over, if you ask me. But we might as well get some out from the Isuzu over here, which I think should start smoking now. I think Krishma can as well, just to look at that. So we're taking some damage on the Krishma, but this is mostly pre-existing. Fairly decent integrity, or having said that, taking a bow hits there. Not nice at all. Gonna hold out and then get some more manual shots out, I think, from that. How are we looking at the county? Perhaps just missed that there, I think. Not to worry there. Not too long before we've loaded there. That might actually be the Musashi shots. Very large splashes there and quite numerous. Not too bad at all. It might have even been from Kirishima. We've got a very nice solution out, so this might be a tad worse. Still going quite the lick though, 26, 25 knots. Not bad at all. Fire that out, get them back on, also fire there. How is Musashi doing? Very obvious fires across the board there. Going to take some damage control around to try and deal with that, of course. And I think really, it's sad to say, Musashi is going to have to, I think, just smoke up and turn out. How are the Kates looking? We have neglected these, and I think really going to probably have to finish off the county with some Kates. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea at all there. But we do still have a lot of destroyer cover, don't we, to deal with those. So we're going to bring the zeros back because once again we've neglected them. Get the zeros in as quickly as possible to distract any potential fire there. So we're going to bring the Kates around, give them some time, lower their speed, and get them into attacking altitude already, I think. So how are we doing on this county? Very nice hits onto the forward turrets here, the number 1 turret, but I don't think that's out of action, unfortunately. It looks like we hadn't actually put the number 2 out of action either. But that's very interestingly positioned there. Quite a neutral stance on that turret. Taking some more hits, but it's looking more like either cruiser or secondary hits there, so I'm not going to do loads on the belt armour there. Would have liked to have destroyed that Sims as well, if we can find that. Yeah, it's out of the fight. Looks like, of course, the Isuzu should really start firing on that, I think. So we're going to take away that and get some spotting fire onto the Sims, I think. Like so. Get some spotting here with the Kirishima as well, because the solution is so low there. And do the same with Musashi. How are the fires looking? They've calmed down. There's less of them. So I think we're looking okay now with the Musashi. The smoke was not a bad idea. They're certainly helping. Just about missed, I think, here as well, unfortunately. But this is going to slower speed, so we are doing some very nasty damage to this county. Just making sure the zeros are certainly coming in, though. Getting very, very close. Not quite close enough. Miss is still a miss. Are we with the... Car was firing out on the county. Kumano firing on the Dane. Not a bad solution there, but I think because it's going at a very slow speed there, we'll try and get some manual shots out there. Don't really want that CV to escape either, so we will send some Kates out towards that, as well as the county. So going 13, it is increasing its speed there, so we're going to give it quite a fair bit of lead. I think. Is the speed still increasing? Not necessarily. Fire out about here-ish. Should be good. We'll send that back out like so. Where are our zeros and such? The county is finally sinking, so that saves us a job over there with our Kates, and we are going to start sending them in now. If you go over here, it's the number... Where is light CV? Where's it ruddy bloody gone? Is it the number 4? It certainly is. That's actually very, very close to our Kirishima and Isuzu over there. And that means I think we're going to just start firing like so onto that. Get some spotting fire out to begin with. Like so. How's the Isuzu doing with the Sims? It is taking some more hits actually. So that's not bad at all. Certainly not bad at all actually. What do we fire out then? I think we start finishing off this Dane with our Musashi there, and of course the Takao, because we're in quite a favourable position to do so. Might want to get some torpedoes out there. It's quite a central position. Yeah, let's get some torpedoes out. Certainly can't complain. It is the starboard side, so we'll deactivate the port side torpedoes. Go for a 3-degree spread there. It's going to be rather large, not to worry at all. Rather wide. And I think want to reduce the amount of AA still, don't we? Do we get greedy? So I've got to say that out loud. Do we get greedy? I think we do a tad. I think we do get greedy. We're actually going to go for this isolated cargo ship over here, because that does come with some nasty flak guns, actually. as it turns out. So we're going to reduce our speed a tad. Don't have to go too slowly. We're going to come towards its nose a bit more directly there. That Sims is looking rather toasted now. You can see the splashes very near misses, zoning in onto the bogue there. And we shall say attack from here. We'll just increase the speed of the Kates now so they do get in, but we do want to think about what we're doing with them. We come from this more perpendicular here, I think. Double check how our ship's looking. No fires as such just yet, so I think we've saved, of course, our destroyers and less armoured ships. I'm very happy to see the Isuzu hasn't taken anything. Dane suffered a magazine explosion as well. That's absolutely brilliant, and that is now finally sinking. Oh, losing is 0 over there, unfortunately. So I think we're going to bring them out once again. No need to lose too many more if we can help it. So we're going to form up, of course, onto this number 2, increase our altitude once again. Don't really want to bounce over to another ship now. I was thinking we saw some damage over there, but it's not the case. So we're just going to bring them out. Could even strafe that Sims again, just to double check that it's going down. Just to encourage it there, because it's dead in the water. Quite the crime to let that go. That means we can turn the Isuzu onto the bogue there, which we do actually still need to identify to help out our solutions, as it turns out. So let's reduce our speed a tad here. Tell them to target the Sims, because we're not, and then we'll attack from here. Don't need to turn round, therefore the Isuzu can fire now onto bogue, and we will identify that to help out our solutions there. Just see the shells just missing. That's a very nice little shot there. I think we just need to make sure that goes on like so, unless of course it is at Casablanca. Let's see how these shots land. Just short there, just short. Very nasty. I think we're going to hold, try and get a cheeky manual fire out on there. And so lost a 0 on that, but not to worry. Narrow manual, 30 knots, but not very far away at all. I think we aim, it is turning in a tad, so we aim back there. Start going back onto manual fire, or automatic fire rather. Sims is sinking though, so that's excellent news. And how are our Kates looking? Turn down their speed, I think. Do we actually want to use them still is the question, because there's only small targets and cargo ships left really. I think we deny that actually. I don't want to start losing Kates for nothing. Don't want to start losing Kates for nothing there. As of course we've done so many times previously. Very nasty fire on the bow there. Just a little too far on that lead there on that manual shot. Looks like we are taking hits on the Isuzu now, so we're going to have to snap on over there. Unless that is just our smoke. We do have a small fire out there. Musashi's looking good as well. It is still targeting Dane, and that is just a waste of time. So I think now we're going to try and finish off this Gleaves with some very high caliber HE shells. We've got a spotting fire to begin with. Get some narrow shots out over there with our secondaries. And we're going to do exactly the same with Takao there, I think. Exactly the same. And not too hopeful with these incoming torpedoes from the Isuzu. That's not to worry there. How's the Commando doing? What we should do is turn now in here, like so. And fire out, I think, still onto the Gleaves there. That C3 is not looking great. Could be looking worse though for us, couldn't it? Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. I think this is the first major engagement Musashi has had that is going to make a very nice difference. We're going to just turn in with the Isuzu and Kirishima now so that we can get some decent fire out there. Looking very close with that bogue. That might not actually be a correct identification, although the Musashi solution does suggest otherwise. These should now be under fire as well, and that's rather nasty indeed. If it takes any near hits, near misses and such with the Musashi shells, that's going down. course, the Bogue, not looking great either. Not looking great at all. Torpedoes going for the wreckage of the county here, which has sunk rather nicely there. You can see the wreckage of Dane, I think, at the distance. Get some rather direct hits now onto the Bogue, and that should be going down fairly soon if that's the case. Bit of a shame, this particular cargo ship did just miss the torpedoes there. That's not to worry. And I think we'll down the Bogue and call that a day, actually, on this particular battle. No, people have been asking me to sink the enemy destroyers. There we go, very lovely indeed. The Bogue is going down, and that is absolutely brilliant. Might just finish off this Gleaves, because that is so close to going down. How is the solution on that? Is that in fact a Gleaves? Solution suggests it probably is. That's not bad at all there. And that is very, very nice little battle to round things off for today, I think. Look at that. Absolutely nasty. So, like I said, this particular task force did in fact invade Okinawa, but it's not a problem because that's 50-50 balance of power at the moment, so I think we can hold off. We are going to send some minor reinforcements from Kure onto Okinawa to help that out. Just to make sure that we do keep that, because I'm rather fed up of them taking Okinawa backwards and forwards like that. And I think we can disengage. Excellent stuff. And we might just wait to see what these torpedoes do, actually. I think we'll wait to see what the torpedoes do. So having said that, we are going to start firing out onto the number 3 crater, I believe. We can identify this as. Fire out here. We do have a fair amount of HE shells left, so that's excellent. So we'll just do that, wait for these torpedoes to come in. Maybe we can bag ourselves a merchant ship. So that should say... this one, excellent stuff. I'll do the same with the Musashi as well, just to get it active, or keep it active. Alright, some HE, lovely stuff, and Takao can do the same. Thank you very much. Lovely, 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 lovely. We can go for this number 1 as well, just because I don't want to stay inactive for too long over here, do we? No, certainly not. Certainly not. And I think we'll just make sure our position is fine on that. We'll just turn us a tad. We will identify that as a C3, I believe. We can say there, yeah, absolutely lovely. A bit of a shame our strafing run didn't sink that. What sort of damage did we do? Heavy to minor, but not to worry at all. Lovely stuff. Very, very lovely indeed, if I may say so myself. Just got some final shells coming in here. Alrighty, so very, very nice battle indeed there. We did lose 12 zeros, unfortunately, but we actually didn't lose a destroyer, so that's one surface battle in so many in this series where we have actually lost a destroyer, so I'll happily take that. 12 command points, not the biggest issue there, and we did sink a losser. So only a single destroyer escaped there, as well as a couple cargo ships over here, but that's absolutely not a problem there. We can certainly live with that. So very nice dent indeed. Don't get away from invading Okinawa too lightly there. So it's just outside, they're on the retreat there. We are going to send back this fleet now. It's done a decent job, and I think we're going to be saying goodbye to that fleet for quite some time. I do want Musashi, Kumano and Kirishima to repair, unfortunately, and they're going to be in the repairs for quite some time, I would imagine. So, as a review, before we end this episode, they have, of course, invaded Okinawa there, but the balance of power is not too bad. We do have, where are we, our invasion supplies over here from Kure, taking a few troops and supplies to double check that. So not to worry at all. And we do, of course, as stated at the start of this particular episode, have this new bombard group out. Just a quick look over that for you there. We have, of course, invaded Brunei, getting some more supplies onto that right now. So I think we will do that like so. Now, if just unload all cargo, we are in range. Absolutely brilliant. So let's double check how Brunei's doing. Still not exactly in our favour there, but I'd like to wager it goes in our favour there. We can have some very decent supplies and troops over there. We are in position over here to pick up troops from Tawi Tawi. We're hoping to bounce straight onto Tarakan over there, but we shall see how this particular invasion goes over the course of the next day or so. See how that balance of power shifts on the next reset. So having said that, thank you very much for watching. That's all we have time for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Certainly enjoyed presenting for you once again. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments section below. However, I've been the Edified Gamer, and I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.